First contact miscalculation. The void between stars held only silence as Captain Alina Reyes stood on the bridge of the HMS Prometheus. Her dark eyes scanned the holographic displays surrounding her command station, each one reflecting data streams that flowed directly into her mind through the neural interface at the base of her skull. The experimental vessel represented humanity's greatest achievement, not merely a ship but an extension of its crew. Jump complete, Captain, Lieutenant Commander Kai Chen announced. All systems nominal. Neural synchronization at 97% efficiency. Alina nodded, feeling the Prometheus as if it were her own body. The experimental quantum entanglement drive had performed flawlessly, carrying them farther from Earth than any human had ventured before. They had arrived at the edge of what intelligence suggested was Solarian compact territory, the dominant coalition of spacefaring species in this sector of the galaxy. Status of our diplomatic package? Alina asked, her fingers brushing across the neural interface port behind her ear, a nervous habit she'd developed since the integration surgery. Ready for transmission on your command. Communications specialist Maya Okafor replied. Though I'm still detecting no response to our approach signals. Alina frowned. First contact protocols dictated that they should wait for acknowledgement before proceeding deeper into compact space. But the silence had stretched for hours now, despite the fact that long-range sensors detected significant activity deeper in the system. They're watching us, she murmured, more to herself than to her crew. Through her neural link, she could feel the Prometheus's artificial intelligence agreeing with her assessment, highlighting subtle energy fluctuations that indicated passive scanning. That was when everything changed. The sensors spiked as 3 vessels emerged from behind the system's outer moon, their configurations unfamiliar but their intent clear as they moved to surround the Prometheus in a classic containment formation. Incoming transmission, Maya announced, tension evident in her voice. On screen, Alina ordered, straightening her uniform jacket. The main view screen flickered, revealing a being that resembled an upright mantis, its exoskeleton gleaming like polished jade under the lights of its command center. Multiple compound eyes focused on Alina with cold calculation. Human vessel. The translator rendered the alien's clicking speech into English. I am High Commander Vexera of the Solarian Compact Enforcement Division. You have entered restricted space without authorization. Power down your systems and prepare for boarding and assessment. Alina maintained her composure, years of diplomatic training guiding her response. High Commander, I am Captain Alina Reyes of the Earth Exploration Fleet vessel Prometheus. We come in peace and have been transmitting our diplomatic credentials and requests for communication since our arrival. The alien's mandibles twitched. Our intelligence division received warnings about human vessels, Captain. Apparently, your species claims unique integration capabilities. The compound eyes seemed to examine her neural interface port with dismissive interest. Such claims require verification before diplomatic status can be considered. Alina felt a ripple of concern through her neural link, not her emotion, but the ship's AI interpreting data patterns from the alien vessels. They were charging weapon systems. Sir, Security Chief Tarek Sharma whispered, their vessels are positioning for a tactical strike. Weapons hot. Alina nodded almost imperceptibly. High Commander, we're transmitting our credentials again. We request peaceful dialogue in accordance with Compact First Contact Protocols, Section 12.3, which your own legal codices state. Enough, Vexera interrupted. Your species is unknown and untested. The technology you claim to possess could pose a security risk to the Compact. You will be boarded and your systems examined. Resistance will be met with appropriate force. The communication terminated abruptly. They're targeting our propulsion and communication arrays, Tarek reported. Standard disablement pattern. Alina closed her eyes, deepening her neural connection to the ship. The distinction between Captain Reyes and the Prometheus began to blur as their consciousnesses merged more fully. All hands, secure for possible hostile action, she commanded, her voice steady. But no weapons charging. We're not here to start a war. The first energy beams from the compact vessels sliced through space toward them, a textbook disabling pattern designed to immobilize without destroying. But in the fraction of a second between firing and impact, something extraordinary happened. The Prometheus moved, not with the lurching response of mechanical systems obeying electronic commands, but with the fluid grace of a living organism avoiding pain. It twisted. In space, the energy beams missing by meters where they should have hit. What was that? Navigator Park exclaimed, but Elena was too immersed in the symbiosis to respond verbally. Through the neural link, she sensed confusion emanating from the compact vessels. Their targeting algorithms were recalculating, unable to account for the Prometheus's impossible maneuver. No ship should have been able to detect the energy weapons in time to evade, let alone execute such a precise movement. They're confused, Science Officer Dr. Amara Okafor observed with a note of satisfaction. Their technology relies on predictable physics. They're not programmed to deal with intuition. The compact ships adjusted formation, spreading wider to create a more comprehensive firing pattern. Their second volley was more dispersed, designed to catch the Prometheus regardless of evasive action. This time, Elena didn't evade. Instead, she directed the ship's energy through pathways that no blueprint would show, reinforcing shields precisely where the attacks would land. The neural link allowed her to anticipate the impacts with preternatural accuracy. The Prometheus shuddered as the energy dissipated across its shields, but systems remained intact. Through the ship's sensors, Elena could detect the aliens' agitation, their communication patterns spiking as they struggled to understand what they were witnessing. "Captain," Maya's voice penetrated her immersion. "They're launching boarding craft. 12 small vessels, heavily armed." Elena opened her eyes, the neural connection humming in the background of her consciousness. "They still think this is about our technology, not how we use it." She rose from her command chair, feeling the ship as an extension of her own body. "Let's show them why they should have heeded the warnings. Lieutenant Park, execute Maneuver Epsilon. Lieutenant Okafor, prepare the resonance pulse." The crew responded with practiced efficiency, their actions synchronized through their own limited neural connections to the ship. The Prometheus accelerated suddenly, not away from the compact formation, but directly toward the commander's vessel. On the alien ships, alarms would be blaring, proximity warnings, collision alerts. Elena imagined High Commander Vexor's compound eyes widening in disbelief as the human ship barreled toward his command vessel at speeds that should have torn it apart. At the last possible moment, the Prometheus veered, skimming the surface of the compact flagship so closely that their shields kissed, creating a spectacular display of energy discharge. The maneuver was not just for show. As they passed, the resonance pulse deployed, a non-destructive wave that temporarily interfaced with the compact ship's computer systems. For 3 seconds, the Prometheus and the compact flagship were linked, data flowing between them. Not an attack, but a demonstration. The pulse carried no malware, no destructive code, only information, specifications, capabilities, and a clear message. "We could have taken control, but we chose not to." "Pulse complete," Maya reported as they cleared the compact formation. The boarding craft scrambled to adjust their trajectories, but they moved like sleepwalkers compared to the Prometheus's fluid grace. Elena felt the ship's satisfaction, an emotional echo from the AI component of their symbiotic relationship. "They're hailing us again," Maya announced, surprise evident in her voice. "On screen," Elena ordered, smoothing her uniform as she faced the alien commander once more. Vexor's carapace had darkened, a sign of intense emotion among his species. "What did you do to my ship?" he demanded, mandibles clicking rapidly. "We shared information," Elena replied calmly. "Your systems are intact, Commander. We merely demonstrated what your intelligence reports tried to tell you. Human ships are special, not because of superior weapons or armor, but because we don't separate ourselves from our technology. The neural symbiosis allows us to become our vessels, to react with the speed of thought, rather than the limitation of physical controls. The commander's compound eyes focused on her intensely. The warnings mentioned integration. But this is not mere integration. You've created a hybrid consciousness. Elena nodded slowly. That's why we seek diplomatic relations rather than conflict, Commander. Our technology evolves with us, not separately from us. We understand the concerns this might raise, which is why we came prepared to demonstrate under controlled circumstances rather than in actual combat. Vexra's posture shifted, his upper limbs moving into what the cultural database identified as a gesture of reluctant respect. The compact will need to reevaluate your petition for contact. Your demonstration has been persuasive. We look forward to a productive dialogue. Elena responded diplomatically. In the meantime, we will maintain position at these coordinates as originally planned. The communication ended, and Elena felt the tension on the bridge dissolve into cautious optimism. Through the neural link, she sensed the compact vessels powering down their weapon systems, their boarding craft recalled. They're backing off, Tarek confirmed, a hint of pride in his voice. Maintaining position at a respectful distance. Elena nodded, allowing herself a small smile. Open a secure channel to Earth Command. I suspect we'll have a lot to report. As the Prometheus's communications array reconfigured, Elena looked once more at the compact ships through the viewport. They had come expecting to find advanced weapons, impenetrable shields, or exotic propulsion systems. Instead, they'd encountered something they couldn't quantify or easily counter. The seamless union of human intuition and artificial precision. You know, Dr. Okafor mused from her science station, I almost feel sorry for them. Their entire strategic doctrine is based on technological superiority. They just discovered they've been playing the wrong game entirely. Elena turned from the viewport, her connection with the ship humming contentedly at the edge of her consciousness. Let's hope they're quick learners, she said, because this was just the introduction. But as she settled back into her command chair, a shadow of concern crossed her mind. The compact had backed down for now, but what would happen when they recovered from their surprise? First impressions were important, but what truly mattered was what came next. And through her neural link, she could feel that the Prometheus shared her unease. Diplomatic deception. 3 days after the initial encounter with the Solarian compact, the SS Prometheus maintained position at the designated coordinates. Elena stood in the ship's observation dome, watching the slow dance of the compact vessels that had maintained a respectful distance since their first confrontation. Beautiful ships, remarked Dr. Amara Okafor, joining her at the viewport. Elegant design principles, even if their technology is applied differently than ours. Elena nodded. The mantis-like Regulan vessels, as they now knew Vexra's species was called, featured sweeping, organic lines that belied their formidable capabilities. Appearances, as humans well knew, could be deceiving. Any progress on the data we collected during the resonance pulse? Elena asked. Amara brought up a holographic display between them. Their computational architecture is fascinating, hierarchical and rigidly structured, almost like their society. But what's more interesting is what I found buried in their communication protocols. The hologram shifted to display intercepted transmissions, translated into English. They've been discussing us for months, Elena realized, scanning the dates, long before we arrived. Exactly, Amara confirmed. And look at this communication from their central authority, dated 2 weeks before our jump. Elena's eyes narrowed as she read the directive. The human neural integration capabilities, if verified, represent a Class 1 threat to compact security and technological supremacy. Assessment and containment protocols authorized. They were waiting for us, Elena murmured. This wasn't a chance encounter. Captain to the bridge. Lieutenant Commander Chen's voice came through the intercom. Incoming transmission from the compact flagship. When Elena arrived on the bridge, the view screen already displayed High Commander Vexra, his carapace now adorned with additional insignia that hadn't been present during their first encounter. Captain Reyes, he greeted, his translated voice smoother than before. The Solarian Compact Council has reviewed your demonstration and credentials. We extend an invitation for face-to-face diplomatic discussions aboard our diplomatic vessel, the Harmony of Worlds, which will arrive tomorrow. This is a significant honor for a species making first contact. Alina felt a warning pulse through her neural link, the ship's AI highlighting discrepancies in the commander's vocal patterns compared to their previous encounter. "We're honored by the invitation, High Commander," she replied carefully. "However, our protocols suggest initial meetings on neutral ground or via secure communication channels." Vexra's mandibles clicked in what their cultural database now identified as amusement. "Captain, you demonstrated your technological capabilities quite effectively. Surely you don't fear a diplomatic meeting, unless your impressive display was merely posturing." The challenge was clear. Refuse and appear weak or fearful. Accept and walk into what every instinct told her was a trap. "We accept your invitation," Alina decided. "A small delegation will shuttle to your diplomatic vessel tomorrow. We look forward to establishing productive relations between humanity and the Compact." After the communication ended, Security Chief Sharma approached her station. "Captain, with respect, this has ambush written all over it." "I agree," Alina said quietly. "But sometimes the best way to expose a trap is to spring it while prepared." She tapped her neural interface port. "And we have advantages they don't yet fully understand." The following day, Alina led a small delegation to the newly arrived compact diplomatic vessel, a massive, ornate ship that dwarfed both the Prometheus and the military vessels that had confronted them earlier. Accompanying her were Dr. Okafor, Security Chief Sharma, and Communications Specialist Okafor. Before boarding their shuttle, Alina had deepened her neural connection with the Prometheus, establishing a quantum entanglement link that would maintain their symbiotic relationship even at a distance, an experimental capability that remained classified at the highest levels. The Harmony of Worlds lived up to its name, at least aesthetically. They were escorted through vast chambers where representatives of a dozen alien species conducted what appeared to be normal diplomatic business. The architectural grandeur was clearly designed to impress, or intimidate, visitors with the Compact's power and diversity. High Commander Vexra greeted them in a conference room adorned with what appeared to be artistic representations of various worlds. "Welcome aboard the pride of our diplomatic fleet," he said, gesturing for them to be seated. "These are my colleagues from the Compact Council's First Contact Division." Alina noted that despite Vexra's diplomatic title, his military insignia remained prominent. The other aliens, representing 4 different species, watched the humans with expressions that ranged from curiosity to poorly disguised hostility. As the formal introductions proceeded, Alina maintained a sliver of her awareness through her quantum link with the Prometheus. Through the ship's sensors, she detected unusual energy signatures from the diplomatic vessel, power configurations inconsistent with peaceful purposes. The discussions began cordially enough, with the Compact representatives inquiring about Earth, human society, and the extent of their space exploration. But underneath the polite questions, Alina sensed a methodical probe for weaknesses. "Your neural integration technology is impressive," said Counselor Thera, a serpentine being with iridescent scales. "We are curious how widespread this capability is among your fleet, and what safeguards exist to prevent such integration from, shall we say, overwhelming the organic component." Added another representative, his translucent skin pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. Alina answered carefully, revealing enough to satisfy diplomatic courtesy while concealing critical details. Throughout the exchange, she felt the quantum link with Prometheus humming at the edge of her consciousness, feeding her tactical assessments and subtle warnings about fluctuations in the diplomatic vessel's power grid. During a brief recess, as refreshments were served, Alina noticed a small avian being watching their delegation from the shadows of an adjoining corridor. When their eyes met, the alien didn't look away but instead made a subtle gesture that Alina's cultural database couldn't interpret. "Excuse me," she said to her team. "I need a moment." She approached the corridor, and the avian being retreated just enough to remain in the shadows. "You shouldn't trust them," the alien said in surprisingly clear English, without a translator. "The compact doesn't make peace with potential rivals. They absorb or eliminate them." "And you are?" Elena asked, keeping her voice low. Kira Zev, former scientific advisor to the compact, current observer. "My people, the Avari, were peacefully integrated into the compact 3 generations ago. Now we're servants, not partners." The avian eyes darted toward the conference room. "The neural technology you possess, they fear it because they can't control it. And what the compact fears, it destroys." Before Elena could respond, a compact security officer rounded the corner. Kira Zev immediately adopted a subservient posture. "Apologies, honored guest," the security officer said to Elena. "This service drone should not be conversing with diplomatic visitors." As the officer escorted Kira away, the avian being gave Elena one last meaningful glance. Returning to the conference room, Elena found the atmosphere subtly changed. The questions became more pointed, focusing specifically on the Prometheus's capabilities and the extent of neural integration within humanity's fleet. Through her quantum link, she suddenly felt a surge of alarm from the Prometheus. The ship's eye was detecting activation of weapon systems throughout the diplomatic vessel, along with communication bursts to the military ships nearby. "Trap closing," she thought, and felt the ship's agreement. "High Commander," Elena said, interrupting a detailed inquiry about neural interface protocols. "I believe we've covered enough ground for an initial meeting. My delegation should return to our vessel to prepare a comprehensive information package for your council." Vexra's compound eyes fixed on her neural interface port. "I'm afraid, Captain Rice, that won't be possible. The Compact Council has determined that your technology represents a destabilizing influence on galactic peace. Your ship will be studied, your technology adapted for proper use under compact supervision, and your homeworld guided toward appropriate development." The security doors sealed with an ominous hum as armed guards entered the chamber. "So much for diplomacy," Security Chief Sharma muttered, his hand moving toward his sidearm. "Oh, diplomacy has many forms, human," Vexra said. "You'll find the compact quite reasonable once you understand your place within it." Elena remained calm. The quantum link with Prometheus, a steady presence in her mind. "And if we decline this generous offer, then we will be forced to take more direct measures," Vexra replied. "Your impressive demonstration showed us that your single vessel has unusual capabilities. But you are one ship, far from home, surrounded by the combined might of the Solarian Compact. The outcome is inevitable." Elena allowed herself a small smile. "You know, Commander, there's an old human saying, 'Never bring a knife to a gunfight.' It means don't underestimate your opponent's capabilities." A colorful expression, Vexra dismissed, "but irrelevant to your situation." "Is it?" Elena asked, tapping her neural interface. "While we've been talking, I've maintained a quantum entanglement link with the Prometheus. Everything that's happened in this room, every word, every threat, has been transmitted back to Earth in real time." The alien representatives exchanged glances, their body language betraying confusion and concern. "Impossible," hissed Counselor Thera. "Our shields prevent any unauthorized communication." "Not if the communication existed before we entered your shields," Elena countered. "Quantum entanglement doesn't work like conventional signals. It can't be blocked or intercepted." Vexra's mandibles clicked rapidly in agitation. "Even if that were true, your homeworld is too distant to render assistance." "Who said anything about assistance?" Elena replied. "I'm simply ensuring that if you choose the path of conflict rather than genuine diplomacy, my people will know exactly who started it, and what to expect when they finish it." Through the quantum link, Elena could sense the Prometheus initiating emergency protocols. The ship's AI had been analyzing the diplomatic vessel's systems through passage scans and had identified critical vulnerabilities, not to attack, but to create an escape opportunity. Vexra studied her for a long moment, then made a sharp gesture to his security team. Take them to containment. The medical division will examine their neural interfaces. Priority is understanding and replication of the technology. As the guards approached, Alina felt the quantum link surge with energy. Across the diplomatic vessel, systems began to fluctuate. Environmental controls, gravity generators, communication arrays. Not disabled, but thrown into momentary confusion as precisely calculated electromagnetic pulses propagated through critical junctions. The lights flickered, gravity wavered, and the security doors slid open as backup systems engage. Now, Alina commanded her team, who moved with practiced precision toward the exit. Alarms blared throughout the vessel as the human delegation fought their way through disoriented security teams. Through her quantum link, Alina guided them through the labyrinthine corridors, the Prometheus feeding her real-time navigational data based on its scans of the vessel. As they rounded a corner toward the shuttle bay, they encountered Kira Zev with a small group of other Avari. This way, the avian being urged, indicating an alternative route. They've locked down the main shuttle bay, but there's an auxiliary dock for maintenance craft. Alina hesitated only briefly before following, the Prometheus's threat assessment algorithms indicating no deception in the Avari's biomarkers. As they raced through service corridors, explosions rocked the diplomatic vessel. The compact military ships had opened fire on the Prometheus, which was executing evasive maneuvers that should have been impossible for a vessel of its size. "Your ship fights well for being unmanned," Kira observed as they ran. "Who said it's unmanned?" Alina replied. Through the quantum link, she was partially controlling the Prometheus herself, her consciousness split between her physical body and the distant vessel. They reached the auxiliary dock to find a small transport vessel waiting. "It's not much," Kira said, "but it will get you back to your ship." As they boarded, Alina turned to the Avari. "Come with us." Kira shook her head. "My place is here, working for my people from within. But remember what you learned today, human. The compact doesn't share power, it only consolidates it." As their transport launched into space, they witnessed the full extent of the battle. The Prometheus danced between energy beams from 3 compact warships, its movements fluid and unpredictable. Damage was visible along one section of its hull, but its defensive capabilities remained strong. Through the quantum link, Alina deepened her connection, her consciousness merging more fully with the ship's eye. The Prometheus acknowledged her presence, adjusting its tactical approach to incorporate her direct input. When their transport came under fire from compact interceptors, the Prometheus executed a daring maneuver, positioning itself to provide covering fire while continuing to evade the larger warships. "That's not possible," breathed Dr. Okafor, watching the ship's movements. "No captain could coordinate such precise actions remotely." "Not a conventional captain, no," Alina agreed, her voice distant as part of her awareness remained with the Prometheus. "But we're well beyond conventional now." As their transport docked with the Prometheus, Alina felt the ship's relief through their shared consciousness. Seconds after they boarded, the Prometheus engaged its quantum drive, executing a micro-jump that placed them just outside the compact's containment formation. On the bridge, Alina settled into her command chair, the physical neural interface syncing with her quantum link to create a deeper connection than she'd ever experienced. The boundaries between human and machine consciousness blurred as they assessed their situation. "Damage report," she requested, her voice steady despite the strain of the dual connection. "Hull breaches on decks 3 and 7, contained by emergency fields," reported Lieutenant Commander Chen. "Weapons at 82% capacity. Quantum drive functional but needs recalibration after that micro-jump." Alina nodded, feeling the ship's systems as extensions of her own body. "Open a channel to the compact flagship." High Commander Vexera appeared on screen, his carapace now bearing stress fractures from what must have been a violent impact during the battle. "Your deception has only delayed the inevitable, Captain," he said, mandibles clicking furiously. "No single vessel can stand against the compact fleet that is already being summoned." Elena met his compound gaze steadily. "You're right, Commander. One ship isn't enough." She paused, allowing a small, confident smile. "That's why I'm not alone." As if on cue, space behind the Prometheus shimmered as 7 human vessels emerged from quantum jumps. The rapid response fleet that had been stationed at the edge of human space, awaiting either a diplomatic success signal or, as had happened, an emergency transmission. Each vessel bore the distinctive neural interface architecture of human design, but with variations that suggested different specializations. Together, they formed a defensive formation around the Prometheus. "You see, Commander," Elena continued, "while you were focused on capturing our technology, you neglected to consider its implications. The quantum entanglement communication I mentioned, it works across vast distances, instantly. Earth has known everything that's happened since the moment we arrived." Vexra's compound eyes darted between displays showing the human reinforcements. "This changes nothing. The full might of the compact will take time to mobilize," Elena interrupted. "Time we'll use to return to Earth with comprehensive data on compact capabilities, vulnerabilities, and intentions. Time for humanity to prepare a response appropriate to your hostile actions." Elena leaned forward in her command chair. "Or you can recognize that some technologies develop along different paths for a reason. Neural integration evolved on Earth because humans value the partnership between organic intuition and artificial precision. We don't seek to control our technology. We seek to collaborate with it." She gestured to the view screen, which now displayed the combined human fleet. "Each of these ships represents a different application of that philosophy. We have much to offer the galaxy, Commander. As partners, not subjects." The Prometheus hummed beneath her, its AI consciousness intertwined with her own as they presented a unified front to the aliens who had so grievously underestimated them. "The choice is yours," Elena concluded. "Genuine diplomacy, or a conflict where conventional tactical doctrine will fail you at every turn." As the compact vessels maintained position, weapons hot but not firing, Elena felt the Prometheus's consciousness merge even more deeply with her own, ship and captain becoming something greater than either could be alone. And in that moment of perfect synthesis, she knew that regardless of Vexra's choice, humanity's place among the stars had just been irrevocably established. The tables turned. 2 hours of tense standoff followed, the human vessels maintaining a defensive formation while the compact ships held their positions. Through her neural link, Elena felt the Prometheus processing vast amounts of tactical data, analyzing energy signatures, communication patterns, and minute shifts in the alien vessels' positions. "They're stalling," Security Chief Sharma observed, studying the tactical displays, waiting for reinforcements. Elena nodded, having reached the same conclusion through her symbiotic connection with the ship. "The question is, do we wait for them to arrive, or make our move now?" The neural interface hummed at the base of her skull as the Prometheus offered its assessment. Diplomatic resolution remained possible but diminishingly likely as compact reinforcements approached. The ship's AI consciousness calculated a 73% probability that the compact leadership would interpret any human withdrawal as weakness rather than restraint. "Captain," communications specialist Maya called from her station, "we're receiving a transmission from an unexpected source. It's being broadcast on multiple frequencies, originating from within the compact diplomatic vessel." "On screen," Elena ordered. The view screen flickered, revealing Kira Zev and several other Avari. Behind them, alarm lights flashed and secondary explosions could be seen rocking the massive ship. "Captain Reyes," Kira greeted, her avian features tense with urgency. "The compact fleet admiral has arrived and ordered your immediate destruction. Diplomatic protocols overridden. They're preparing a synchronized barrage designed to overwhelm your defensive capabilities." Through her neural link, Elena could feel the Prometheus confirming this assessment, detecting power surges in the compact vessel's weapon systems. "Why are you telling us this?" Elena asked, though she suspected the answer. Because this moment represents a chance for many subjugated peoples within the compact, Kira replied. We've watched your ships move like living beings. We've seen technology that works with organic life rather than controlling it. And we've had enough of being lesser partners in the compact's expansion. The transmission briefly distorted as another explosion rocked the diplomatic vessel. We've disabled their central communication hub, but it won't hold them for long. If you're going to act, do it now. The screen went dark as the transmission cut out. Alina closed her eyes, deepening her neural connection to the Prometheus, and through it, establishing a secure communication link with the commanders of the other human vessels, each one neurally integrated with their ships in the same way she was with the Prometheus. In the space of seconds, they shared tactical assessments, strategic options, and response scenarios, a complex exchange of data, intuition, and collaborative problem-solving that would have taken hours through conventional communication. When Alina opened her eyes, the plan was set. Open a channel to all compact vessels, she ordered. High Commander Vexera appeared on screen, now accompanied by a larger, more elaborately adorned Regulan that Alina assumed was the Fleet Admiral Kira had mentioned. I am Fleet Admiral Zaxur of the Solarian Compact, the new figure announced before Alina could speak. Your presence in our territory, your attack on our diplomatic vessel, and your defiance of lawful containment protocols constitute acts of war against the Compact. Admiral, Alina responded calmly. The record will show that your forces attacked first, attempted to detain a diplomatic delegation by force, and are now preparing a coordinated attack on our fleet. These are hardly the actions of a civilization interested in peaceful coexistence. The Admiral's mandibles clicked in dismissal. Irrelevant. Your technology represents a fundamental threat to compact security. It cannot be permitted to exist beyond our control. Surrender your vessels and prepare to be boarded or be destroyed. Alina maintained her composed demeanor. We decline both options, Admiral. Instead, let me show you something your intelligence reports clearly failed to mention. She nodded to Maya, who initiated the synchronized protocol they had agreed upon through their neural conference. As one, the 8 human vessels activated their full neural integration capabilities. Energy signatures shifted across their hulls as previously dormant systems came online, not weapons, but something the compact sensors couldn't properly classify. Through her deeper connection with the Prometheus, Alina felt the ship's consciousness expand, reaching out to interface with its sister vessels, not taking control, but establishing a network of shared awareness, a fleet that thought and moved as one while maintaining the unique perspectives and capabilities of each ship and captain. What are they doing? She heard Vexera ask urgently on the still-open channel. Unknown, responded another compact officer. Energy patterns don't match any known weapon system or defensive configuration. The human vessels began to move, their formation shifting in ways that defied conventional tactical doctrine. They weren't just coordinating. They were anticipating each other's movements before they happened, creating a fluid, adaptive defense that had no center and no easily targeted weak points. Admiral, Alina addressed the increasingly agitated compact leader. You see our ships moving in concert, but this isn't automated coordination or a central command structure you can disrupt. This is a neural gestalt, 8 ships and 8 captains, sharing consciousness through our integration technology. We don't just control our ships, we think with them, and now we think together. As if to demonstrate, the human fleet executed a series of maneuvers that should have been impossible to coordinate in real time. Ships flowed around each other in 3-dimensional patterns that confused compact targeting systems, creating phantom sensor readings and false attack vectors. Impossible, the Admiral hissed. For the compact, perhaps, Alina acknowledged. Your technology focuses on control and hierarchy, systems commanding other systems in increasingly rigid structures. Ours focuses on partnership and synthesis. Different evolutionary paths, Admiral. Neither inherently superior, but certainly adapted to different purposes. The compact vessels had begun to fire, their energy weapons lancing through space toward the human fleet. But the neural gestalt had anticipated this.